Let me ask you something honest. When a mouthwash burns, do you think, good, it's working? Most of us were taught that feeling means protection. A strong swish, a sharp sting, minty fresh breath, end of story. But after age 55, that burn can be a warning sign, not a benefit. Here's why. As we get older, the tissues inside our mouth change. Gums naturally recede. The lining of the cheeks and tongue becomes thinner and more sensitive. Saliva production often drops, especially if you're taking common medications for blood pressure, allergies, depression, or heart health. And saliva matters more than most people realize. Saliva isn't just moisture, it's your mouth's first line of defense. It washes away bacteria, it neutralizes acids, it protects enamel and gum tissue. When saliva dries up, bacteria thrive. Now add a harsh mouthwash to that picture. High alcohol rinses don't just kill germs, they strip away moisture, damage delicate tissue, and wipe out beneficial bacteria along with the bad. For seniors, that creates a cascade of problems: dry mouth, gum inflammation, increased cavities, mouth sores, and infections that take longer to heal. This is especially important if you're managing blood pressure. Researchers have discovered that certain beneficial oral bacteria help your body produce nitric oxide, a compound that relaxes blood vessels and supports healthy circulation. When antiseptic mouthwashes kill those bacteria, nitric oxide levels drop and blood pressure can rise. That means a mouthwash you use for oral health may quietly work against your heart health. This matters to organizations like the American Heart Association, which consistently warns seniors that small daily habits can add up to real cardiovascular effects. And here's the myth we need to break right now. Burning does not equal cleaning. Burning equals irritation. Burning equals alcohol. Burning equals tissue damage. Think about it this way. You wouldn't pour rubbing alcohol on dry, fragile skin twice a day and expect it to heal. Yet many seniors do the oral equivalent every morning and night. Another hidden issue is medication interaction. Many common prescriptions already cause dry mouth as a side effect. When you combine that with an alcohol-based or harsh antibacterial rinse, you're doubling down on dryness and irritation. That's when gums pull back. Roots become exposed. Sensitivity skyrockets. And infections find an easy entry point. Dentures make this worse. Dry tissues increase friction. Friction causes sores. Sores invite bacteria. Seniors often blame their dentures when the real culprit is sitting on the bathroom counter. So before we even name brands, this is the foundation you need to understand. Your mouth absorbs chemicals quickly, your tissues are more vulnerable after 55, and harsh mouthwash can quietly undo the good you're trying to do. This video isn't about scaring you away from mouthwash, it's about helping you choose the kind that works with your body, not against it. Quick question before we continue. Does your current mouthwash burn when you use it? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments. You might be surprised how common that answer is. Up next, we're starting the countdown with a budget brand many seniors trust, without realizing the risks hiding inside. Number 9, Equate Antiseptic Mouthwash, the budget trap. Let's start with a bottle. Almost everyone has seen at least once. Equate Antiseptic Mouthwash. You spot it at Walmart. It looks nearly identical to the name brands. Same amber color, same promises, and the price, almost half. For seniors watching every dollar, it feels like a smart choice. But here's what the label doesn't explain clearly. Independent testing of store-brand antiseptic mouthwashes has found very high alcohol levels, sometimes higher than what's listed on the bottle. We're talking alcohol concentrations that can exceed 26%. That's not mild, that's harsh. When you swish a high alcohol mouthwash, you're not just killing germs, you're stripping away the protective mucus layer that keeps your mouth healthy. You're drying out your gums, tongue, and cheeks, and you're destroying saliva, the very thing that controls harmful bacteria naturally. For seniors, this is where things spiral. Many common medications already cause dry mouth. Blood pressure medications, diuretics, antihistamines, antidepressants. Now imagine adding a strong alcohol rinse twice a day. Dry mouth turns into gum irritation. Irritation turns into tiny tissue tears. Those tears become entry points for infection. And there's a more serious concern. Studies published in oral cancer research journals have found statistical links between heavy use of alcohol-based mouthwash and increased oral cancer risk. This doesn't mean one rinse causes cancer, but repeated exposure, day after day, year after year, matters. You're holding ethanol against the most absorbent tissues in your body. That exposure adds up. So ask yourself this: why can Equate sell mouthwash for so much less? Lower price often means cheaper ingredients and fewer safeguards. Saving $2 at checkout isn't worth long-term damage to your gums, teeth, or overall health. Before we move on, think about this. Have you ever chosen a mouthwash mainly because it was cheaper? No judgment, just awareness. Because the next brand isn't cheap at all, it's trusted. And that's what makes it dangerous. Number 8. Cepacol antibacterial mouthwash. When clinical backfires. Now let's talk about a name that sounds medical and reassuring. Cepacol. Cepacol has been around since the 1950s. Many seniors grew up seeing it in medicine cabinets. The packaging looks clinical, pharmacy approved, like something a doctor would recommend. And yes, Cepacol does kill bacteria. The active ingredient is cetylpyridinium chloride, often called CPC. But here's the part most people aren't told. CPC doesn't just kill harmful bacteria. It kills everything. Your mouth isn't supposed to be sterile. It has a balanced ecosystem of bacteria, some bad, many good. Those good bacteria help control inflammation, protect against infections, and support healing. When CPC wipes them out, problems follow. First, there's staining. Research published in dental journals shows CPC binds to proteins in saliva and tooth surfaces, creating yellow-brown stains over time. Seniors often think it's coffee, tea, or aging. In many cases, it's the mouthwash. Crowns, bridges, and older dental work stain even faster. But staining is only the visible problem. The deeper issue is microbiome disruption. When beneficial bacteria are wiped out, opportunistic organisms move in. That's how seniors end up with conditions like oral thrush, a fungal infection that causes white coating, soreness, and burning. One woman reported developing thrush after just a few months of regular Cepacol use, something that required prescription medication to clear. For seniors with weakened immune systems, recent surgeries, or chronic illness, this is not a small risk. Cepacol promises antibacterial protection. What it can deliver instead is long-term imbalance. Clinical strength doesn't always mean safe, especially for aging mouths that need gentleness, not scorched earth tactics. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed staining or dryness after switching mouthwashes? Drop a quick comment. Your experience might help someone else connect the dots. Up next, we're talking about a mouthwash that looks fresh, smells minty, and has been trusted for decades, but quietly dries out millions of senior mouths. Number 7. Scope Classic. Fresh breath, drier mouth. Let's talk about that familiar green bottle. Scope Classic. Scope has been around for decades. The commercials promised confidence. Fresh breath, that clean, minty feeling that made you want to smile and get close. But here's the part most seniors were never told. Scope Classic contains about 15% alcohol. That's roughly the same alcohol content as a glass of wine. Now ask yourself this. Would you swish wine around your mouth twice a day and expect your gums to get healthier? Of course not. Yet millions of seniors do exactly that without realizing it every morning and night. For older adults, alcohol-based mouthwash creates a chain reaction. First comes dry mouth. Alcohol strips moisture and reduces saliva production. Without saliva, your mouth loses its natural ability to wash away bacteria and neutralize acids. Then come the consequences. Gum recession speeds up. Tooth roots become exposed. Sensitivity increases. Cavities form more easily. Bad breath actually gets worse. Yes, worse. Dry mouth is one of the leading causes of chronic bad breath in seniors. So the very product meant to freshen your breath may be creating the conditions that cause odor in the first place. Dentures make this even harder. When oral tissues dry out, dentures rub instead of glide. That friction leads to sores, inflammation, and painful spots that take longer to heal with age. Many seniors blame the dentures, not realizing the mouthwash is drying the tissue underneath. There's also something else hiding in that green liquid. Artificial dyes. Scope uses synthetic colorants like FD&C, green number 3, and yellow number 5. These dyes serve no health purpose. They don't clean your mouth. They don't protect your teeth. They're there purely for appearance. Some countries restrict or ban certain synthetic dyes that are still allowed in U.S. products. Seniors using Scope daily for years are repeatedly exposing highly absorbent oral tissue to chemicals that add no benefit at all. So when you feel that minty burn, remember this. Burning isn't cleanliness. It's irritation. And aging mouths don't need irritation. They need support. Now let's move to a mouthwash many dentists recommend and explain why recommended doesn't always mean right for you. Number 6, Act Anti-Cavity Fluoride Rinse. When more isn't better. At first glance, Act Anti-Cavity mouthwash feels like the responsible choice. Clean design, clear purpose, strengthens teeth. Dentists often recommend fluoride, and for many people, it's helpful. Fluoride strengthens enamel and helps prevent cavities. That science is real. But here's what ACT doesn't explain clearly, especially to seniors. Most older adults are already getting fluoride from multiple sources: fluoridated tap water, fluoride toothpaste, processed foods made with fluoridated water, sometimes fluoride treatments at the dentist. When you add a daily fluoride rinse on top of all that, you may be pushing your total exposure too high. This matters because fluoride doesn't just pass through the body, it accumulates in bones over time. For seniors dealing with osteoporosis, osteopenia, arthritis, joint stiffness, excess fluoride may worsen bone brittleness and contribute to long term skeletal problems. Chronic overexposure has been linked to skeletal fluorosis, a condition that causes pain, stiffness, and reduced mobility. There's another concern many people miss: dose consistency. Consumer testing has found that some fluoride rinses vary in concentration from batch to batch. One bottle may deliver the expected dose, another may deliver significantly more. That means you could be getting a safe amount one month and an excessive amount the next without any way to know. Picture this: you're 74, you drink city water, you brush with fluoride toothpaste, you take calcium and vitamin D for bone health, and every night you rinse with ACT because it was recommended years ago. No one ever added up your total fluoride load. The assumption was simple: more protection must be better. But for seniors, balance matters more than intensity. Fluoride can help, but only when it's truly needed and carefully dosed. Let me ask you, has anyone ever reviewed all your fluoride sources together? Or were products just added one by one over the years? Drop a quick comment. Up next, we're exposing a trusted red and white brand with a history most people don't know and why it matters for sensitive senior mouths. 5. Colgate Total Mouthwash. A trusted name, troubling history. Now let's talk about a brand almost everyone trusts: Colgate. Colgate has been around since the 1800s. Generations grew up with that red and white label. When seniors see Colgate Total, the word total feels reassuring. Complete protection. Nothing to worry about. But this brand has a history most people never hear. For years, Colgate Total products contained triclosan, an antibacterial chemical that was marketed as a breakthrough. Kill more bacteria, get healthier gums, fewer problems. Then the research caught up. Studies linked triclosan to hormone disruption, particularly thyroid function. It was also associated with changes in estrogen signaling and concerns about antibiotic resistance, meaning bacteria become harder to kill when it really matters. In 2016, the FDA banned triclosan from antibacterial hand soaps, stating manufacturers failed to prove it was safe for long-term daily use. Here's the uncomfortable part. While triclosan was removed from soaps, Colgate fought to keep it in oral care products. Public pressure eventually forced reformulations, but the story doesn't end there. Modern Colgate Total Mouthwash still contains sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS. SLS is a detergent. It's there to create foam. That fizz makes people feel like something is happening. But SLS is also a known oral irritant. For seniors, this is a big problem. As gums recede and tissues thin with age, SLS can cause painful mouth sores, burning sensations, delayed healing, recurrent canker sores. Studies published in dental journals have shown that people prone to mouth ulcers experience significantly more sores when using SLS-containing products. Now think about seniors on blood thinners, chemotherapy, steroids, immune-suppressing medications. Their oral tissues are already fragile. Adding a detergent-based mouthwash can create a cycle of irritation that never fully heals. So while Colgate Total promises total protection, many seniors experience the opposite: ongoing discomfort, sores, and inflammation they can't quite explain. A trusted name doesn't always mean a gentle formula. And next, we're talking about the biggest name of all, the mouthwash most people think of when they hear the word antiseptic. Number 4, Listerine Cool Mint, the burn that works. Against you. This one may surprise you. Listerine Cool Mint is often considered the gold standard. That amber bottle, that intense burn, that feeling of, wow, it's really cleaning. But here's the truth. Listerine Cool Mint contains about 21.6% alcohol. Let that sink in. That's more alcohol than most beers and many wines. Every time you rinse, you're bathing your mouth in a strong alcohol solution. And for seniors, that has serious consequences. Research published in dental journals has found consistent associations between heavy use of alcohol-based mouthwash and increased oral cancer risk. This doesn't mean one rinse causes cancer, but long-term, repeated exposure matters. You're holding alcohol against the most absorbent tissues in your body: your gums, tongue, and cheeks, twice a day, every day. But cancer isn't the only concern. Groundbreaking research from the University of Glasgow revealed something even more alarming for seniors. Certain oral bacteria help your body produce nitric oxide, a compound essential for healthy blood vessel function and blood pressure regulation. Antiseptic mouthwashes like Listerine wipe out these beneficial bacteria. The result? Blood vessels don't relax as easily. Blood pressure can rise. So if you're taking medications for hypertension, your mouthwash may be quietly working against them. That burning sensation Listerine is famous for, that's not deep cleaning. That's tissue irritation. Burning doesn't mean healthier. It means harsher. For seniors already managing heart health, dry mouth, gum recession, or sensitive tissues, this product can do far more harm than good, despite its reputation. Let me ask you something honestly. If a product burns your skin, would you use it daily? Then why use it on your mouth? Up next, we're moving into brands that claim to be gentle and alcohol-free, but still raise serious concerns for seniors. Number 3, TheraBreath. Fresh breath, gentle image, hidden questions. This one often shocks people. TheraBreath markets itself as the safe, gentle, alcohol-free alternative. Dentist formulated, no burn, no sting. For seniors who've already heard warnings about alcohol mouthwash, TheraBreath feels like the smart switch. And it's true, alcohol-free is better than alcohol-based. But alcohol-free does not automatically mean risk-free. TheraBreath's active ingredient is chlorine dioxide. This compound neutralizes odor-causing sulfur bacteria, which is why TheraBreath works well for bad breath. Here's the concern for seniors. Chlorine dioxide is highly reactive. That's why it's used in water treatment and industrial disinfection. In very low controlled concentrations, it can be safe, but it still reacts with organic material. And your mouth is full of organic material. For seniors with crowns, bridges, fillings, dental implants, that reactivity matters. Some dentists and periodontists have reported patterns, not formal clinical trials, but consistent real-world observations of faster degradation of dental bonding materials and increased sensitivity around crowns and long-term chlorine dioxide users. That expensive dental work you paid for, you want it to last. There's another issue hiding behind the natural marketing. TheraBreath contains sodium benzoate, a preservative. Under certain conditions, especially when combined with vitamin C, sodium benzoate can form benzene, a known carcinogen. The risk is low, but it exists. For seniors who use the same product twice a day for years, cumulative exposure is the real concern. TheraBreath isn't the worst product on this list, but it's also not as harmless as the label suggests, especially for seniors with extensive dental work or very sensitive oral tissue. Gentle branding doesn't replace full transparency. Now, let's move to a product that was supposed to solve all these problems and ended up creating new ones. Number 2, Crest Pro Health, alcohol-free but not trouble-free. When alcohol mouthwash concerns became widely known, Crest launched Pro Health with massive marketing power. Alcohol-free, multi-protection, dentist-endorsed. It sounded like the perfect solution for seniors. Then the complaints flooded in. Thousands of users reported severe brown staining on their teeth, sometimes within weeks. Not mild discoloration, deep, visible staining that looked like years of neglect. Dentists started seeing the same pattern again and again. The culprit? Cetylpyridinium chloride, CPC, the same antibacterial ingredient we discussed earlier. CPC binds to compounds in saliva and tooth surfaces, creating stubborn stains that are difficult to remove, especially on older enamel, crowns, and dental work. Seniors are far more vulnerable to this effect. But staining isn't the biggest concern. Crest Pro Health also contains propylene glycol. You'll hear this ingredient described as generally recognized as safe, and in small short-term exposures it usually is. But propylene glycol is processed by the kidneys. For seniors, especially those with reduced kidney function, diabetes, or long medication lists, this matters. Medical literature has documented cases where propylene glycol accumulates in patients with renal impairment, leading to metabolic issues. Again, one rinse won't cause harm. But twice a day, every day, for years, that's a different conversation. Crest Pro Health promised advanced protection. What many seniors got instead was staining, irritation, and another chemical burden their bodies didn't need. And now, we arrive at the most concerning product on this list, the one that combines almost every risk factor we've discussed. 1. Listerine Total Care, the most dangerous combo for seniors. This is the one that earns the #1 spot on our avoid list. Listerine Total Care Anti-Cavity Mouthwash. And the reason is simple. It combines almost every risk we've talked about into one bottle, then markets itself directly to seniors as an all-in-one solution. Let's break it down calmly. Listerine Total Care contains alcohol, around 18%, sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, Artificial dyes like FD&C blue. Number 1, sodium fluoride. Multiple preservatives. Each one alone raises concerns for older adults. Together, they create a perfect storm. The alcohol dries out your mouth and irritates already thin oral tissue. The SLS acts like a detergent, increasing the risk of sores and peeling gums. The artificial dyes add zero benefit while exposing highly absorbent tissue to unnecessary chemicals. The fluoride may push seniors over safe exposure limits if they're already getting fluoride from water and toothpaste. But here's what makes this product especially dangerous for seniors. Gum recession. Most adults over 50 have some degree of gum recession. That means root surfaces are exposed. Those areas aren't protected by enamel the same way teeth are. When you rinse with Listerine Total Care, alcohol and fluoride penetrate deeper into those exposed areas, increasing irritation and sensitivity and slowing healing. Consumer complaints tell a disturbing story. Burning that lasts for hours, gum peeling and tissue sloughing, mouth sores that take weeks to heal, secondary infections in people with weaker immune systems. These aren't rare outliers, they're patterns. And the marketing? Silver-haired couples. 6 benefits in 1. Total Care. It's designed to appeal to seniors who want simplicity. But there is no such thing as one-size-fits-all mouthwash, especially after 55. Seniors have unique medication interactions, oral changes, and health considerations that mass-market products ignore. Listerine Total Care doesn't adapt to seniors. It overwhelms them. That's why it takes the top spot. Now, after all of this, you may be wondering, is any mouthwash actually safe? Yes, but only a few. And that's what we're covering next. The only mouthwashes seniors can actually trust. Let's flip the script. After everything we've exposed, you deserve to know what actually works, without burning, staining, or chemical overload. Safe pick number 1, Colossus, ultra-sensitive mouthwash. Close Yes is in a category of its own. This mouthwash is alcohol-free, SLS-free, dye-free, flavor-free, non-irritating. Its active ingredient is stabilized chlorine dioxide, but at a much lower, controlled concentration than products like TheraBreath. The pH is carefully balanced to match natural saliva. What makes Closest ideal for seniors is what it doesn't do. It doesn't burn. It doesn't dry tissue. It doesn't stain teeth. It doesn't disrupt the oral microbiome aggressively. Clinical studies show Closest causes no staining, even with long-term daily use. That's critical for seniors with crowns, bridges, and implants. For people on blood pressure medications, heart medications, or immune-suppressing drugs, gentleness matters more than aggression. Cleaning doesn't have to hurt. Safe pick number 2. Hello, naturally healthy anti-gingivitis. The second brand that earns real trust is Hello. Hello built its entire brand around transparency. Their anti-gingivitis mouthwash is alcohol-free, fluoride-free, SLS-free, dye-free, triclosan-free, paraben-free. Instead of harsh chemicals, Hello uses ingredients like aloe vera and coconut oil, both known for anti-inflammatory properties. This is especially important because over 70% of adults over 65 have gum inflammation. Hello doesn't try to sterilize your mouth. It supports healing. That's the difference. If you want fluoride, you can get it from toothpaste. If you want deep cleaning, brushing, and flossing, do the heavy lifting. Mouthwash should support, not sabotage. The mouthwash industry makes billions by convincing people that burning equals clean, strong chemicals equal protection, more ingredients equal better care. For seniors, the opposite is often true. Gentle works better, simple works better, transparent works better. If you've experienced burning, staining, sores, or infections from mouthwash, you're not imagining it. Tell your story in the comments, subscribe if you want honest breakdowns of products companies don't want you questioning. Your health is worth knowing the truth.